There's something strange about money that no one teaches you in school. It doesn't vanish. It just changes direction. One moment, it's flowing into your life through a chum, a project, or even luck. The next moment, it's gone. Not because you're careless, not because you're lazy, but because something shifted in your field. And what most people never realize is this: money doesn't leave because of numbers. It leaves because of energy. Not the kind of woo-woo energy that floats in the air without meaning. I'm talking about the energy behind your habits, your mindset, your environment, the invisible architecture that either invites abundance or quietly turns it away. The truth is, financial blocks don't always start in your bank account. They start in places much closer. The drawer you never clean, the thought you repeat without noticing, the wallet you carry but never organize. These aren't just quirks, they're signals. And when those signals misalign, money doesn't fight its way to reach you. It just finds somewhere else to land. That's what this video is about. Not luck, not overwork, not hustle culture. It's about energetic posture. Because sometimes the reason you're still stuck is not because you haven't tried hard enough, but because you've been unknowingly broadcasting a frequency that says, "I'm not ready yet." And money, like any intelligent form of energy, listens. I'm not here to teach you a 5-step formula for overnight riches. You won't find any promises of fast cash or secret mantras here. What I am going to show you is how the energy of your daily life, your relationship with money, your sense of self-worth, your internal environment, either accelerates or blocks financial flow. And once you learn to see money as energy instead of outcome, everything changes. Because you stop chasing and you start aligning. Let me ask you something, but not in the way most videos do. This isn't a hypothetical question. This is real. When you reach for your wallet, what do you feel? Do you feel proud, prepared, confident? Or is there a flicker of embarrassment, hesitation, or even avoidance? When you open your financial app, does your body tense before the screen loads? Do you check your accounts daily, or do you avoid them until the discomfort outweighs the fear? These aren't surface-level behaviors. They are energetic mirrors. They reflect how safe, worthy, and prepared you truly feel to hold wealth, not just once, but continuously. And the truth is, most people aren't blocked by the economy, or inflation, or even lack of skill. They're blocked by the quiet story running underneath all of it. The story that says, "I don't deserve more. I wouldn't know how to manage it. It wouldn't last anyway." So the flow of money pauses, not as punishment, but as reflection. That's where Feng Shui becomes more than room design. It becomes a lens. In Feng Shui, energy moves when intention is clear and space is respected. That applies to your desk, your doorway, and also your decisions. And once you start seeing money not as something to chase, but as something to harmonize with, you realize you've had more power than you thought. Not control over the world, but influence over your own frequency. And when your frequency is stable, money doesn't run, it recognizes you. I want to take you through a few powerful shifts that don't require a new job, a lottery win, or a dramatic life change. They require something deeper: clarity. We're going to explore how you treat your wallet, how you respond to receiving, how you think about giving, and even how you speak about money when no one is listening. Because all of those details are not just habits, they are energy settings. And you can change them. But before we move forward, if something about this message already feels different, if you've made it this far because something inside you knows this isn't just theory, it's the beginning of a new relationship with your future self, then I want to ask something simple. If you find value in what I share today, help this message reach someone else. One like, one share, one comment. Each one expands the frequency of what we're creating here. And if you want to keep learning how energy and clarity shape a life of peace and prosperity, subscribe to New Day Mindfulness. We're close to 2,000 subscribers, and your support helps me keep showing up for those who are ready to live in better alignment. Not later, but now. This isn't a video you'll watch and forget. It's one that will open a door, and once you step through, you won't see money the same way again. So stay with me, and let's begin to rebuild the energetic foundation that abundance can finally recognize and feel safe enough to return to. Energy Flow 1. Stop hiding from money. There's a strange contradiction in the way people talk about wanting more money. They say they want abundance. They pray for income. They visualize 6 figures, new homes, debt freedom. But then they avoid looking at their wallet. They ignore the bank app. They treat cash like something dirty or dangerous. That contradiction is not harmless. It's the first and loudest signal you're sending into your energetic field. I'm not ready to handle wealth. It may seem small, a missed bill here, a half-open bank statement there, but in the language of Feng Shui, where intention meets space, those small behaviors aren't neutral. They're blocks. They're stagnant water collecting in the corner of your financial life. And eventually, stagnation breeds misalignment, missed income, confusion, and a slow leak in your sense of self-worth. Money doesn't just flow into open hands, it flows into clear fields. And if you're living with the habit of financially hiding, even in subtle ways, then money isn't being kept from you. It's being redirected by you. Let's start with something deceptively simple. Your wallet. When you hold it, what do you feel? Calm, clarity, connection, or maybe guilt? Emptiness? Avoidance? In the energetic world, the wallet isn't just a storage item. It's a declaration. It's your altar of financial readiness. A tidy, intentional wallet, regardless of how much is inside, sends the message, I'm present, I'm ready, I'm open to receiving. An empty, disorganized, neglected wallet whispers, I'm not sure I trust myself with this. Let that land, because energy doesn't lie. Keeping a small, neatly folded amount of cash in your wallet, even if you never spend it, is one of the most powerful practices you can begin today. Not because the money itself is important, but because of the relationship it represents. Holding real money in your hands reminds your body, your field, and your subconscious. I am not cut off. I am not unworthy. I am in connection with flow. This is not about superstition. It's about wiring. Every time you feel that currency, its texture, its shape, its weight, you're anchoring yourself to the tangible reality of money as a friend, not a threat. You're undoing the emotional pattern of avoidance that tells your energy it's safer to stay small. Now let's go deeper. Ask yourself honestly, do you check your financial accounts daily? Or do you flinch before opening the app? Do you track what's coming in and going out? Or do you ballpark it and hope for the best? Avoidance doesn't just delay problems, it attracts them. In Feng Shui, where energy doesn't move, decay begins. The same applies to your money. If you ignore it, it doesn't grow, it weakens. Not in quantity, but in quality. Its ability to support you, respond to your vision, and serve your growth. You don't need to be rich to start behaving like someone who respects money. You just need to stop hiding from it. Here's a gentle practice. Open your wallet every morning. Don't do anything with it. Just open it. Look inside. Touch the notes. Take a slow breath. Say quietly, I honor what's here, and I'm open to more. Do this even if all you have is $5. Do it especially then, because respect, not amount, is what begins to shift your frequency. Let's break the illusion that more money will make me feel secure. In truth, security comes first. Then money flows in to match it. That's why some lottery winners lose everything. They received quantity without alignment. And that's why some modest income individuals slowly build wealth. Their energy said, I know how to hold this. This concept isn't theoretical. Think of someone like Will Smith. Before he became a household name, he was reportedly meticulous with his money. Even when he didn't have much, he paid taxes in advance. He tracked his spending. He didn't hide from reality. That discipline didn't just reflect responsibility. It created the energetic capacity to receive more. Now, I'm not suggesting spreadsheets and financial apps are the answer to everything. What I am saying is the way you approach money when you have little will shape the way money approaches you when you have more. You're not waiting to become someone who's financially empowered. You're building that field now, choice by choice, breath by breath, dollar by dollar. If you're watching this and a part of you feels uncomfortable, that's okay. Discomfort is a sign that a new pattern wants to form. Lean into it. Don't fix everything at once. Start with your wallet. Clean it out. Remove unnecessary receipts, expired cards, clutter. Place a few clean bills inside, no matter how small. Organize the contents. Hold it with care. Carry it with presence. Don't toss it on the floor or bury it in a bag you rarely touch. Let it represent readiness. Next, make it a habit to check your bank account. Not with fear, but with curiosity. You're not just checking numbers, you're sending a signal. I'm not afraid to see where I stand. That energy, that clarity, creates flow. And if you've made it this far, if you've felt something stir, even gently, then I invite you to help this energy spread. One like, one share, one comment, it may seem small, but it tells YouTube this content matters. And I'd love for you to join me on the journey to 2,000 subscribers. This isn't just a number, it's a signal of how many people are waking up to a new way of living, where energy and intention shape reality. So thank you for showing up. Thank you for facing the invisible pattern that most people avoid. And thank you for being the kind of person who's not waiting for money to change, but who's willing to change their energy first. The next step, we go even deeper. Stay with me. Energy flow 2. Clean intention attracts clean income. When money and time, this concept is echoed by one of the most well-known and financially successful figures of our time, Warren Buffett. Though widely regarded as one of the greatest investors in history, he is equally known for his principle-based discipline. He famously avoids complex investments he doesn't fully understand. Not because he lacks intelligence, but because he refuses to enter energetic arrangements that carry ambiguity. He trusts clean, long-term vibration over fast, chaotic gain. That's not just finance, it's frequency. He doesn't chase returns, he cultivates reliability. That kind of wealth isn't built in spreadsheets, it's built in clarity. And clarity is a choice. For everyday individuals, the lesson is not to mimic his portfolio, but to embody his ethic. To pause and ask, where is my income coming from? Do I feel clear, clean, and proud of the way I earn? Or is there a subtle knot in my stomach? A story I wouldn't tell? A discomfort I bury every time I collect a payment? That discomfort isn't shame for the sake of morality. It's a signal. It's your energy field telling you something doesn't align. And when misalignment becomes habitual, it doesn't just block abundance, it weakens your inner stability. You might find that you're always looking over your shoulder, afraid of being exposed, or never quite feeling safe, even when the numbers look good on paper. You might overspend to mask internal friction, or undercharge because you don't feel worthy of the amount you're receiving. Both extremes are symptoms of unclear, energetic contracts. If you feel this tension, don't panic. Awareness is the beginning of transformation. Start by auditing your income sources, not with judgment, but with honesty. List every stream of money flowing into your life, Next to each one, write a word that describes how it makes you feel. Empowered, drained, neutral, hopeful, dirty, secure, uneasy. Then ask yourself, if this income source were a person, would I want them living in my house? Would I introduce them to someone I respect? Would I trust them around something sacred? If the answer is no, then that stream is not just transactional, it's energetic contamination. And just like in Feng Shui, when you identify what doesn't belong, the next step is to clear it. Now, this doesn't mean quit your job overnight or reject financial help during a hard season. It means begin the process of realignment. Start imagining what clean income would look like. It may not appear instantly, but your field needs a signal that you're ready. Start setting boundaries. Stop saying yes to money that comes with energetic debt. Say no to collaborations that leave you hollow. Decline work that asks you to dim your values. When you make these decisions, even quietly, your energy field begins to reset. And as it resets, you create space for something cleaner to arrive. It's worth noting that many people are afraid to cut off toxic income streams because they fear financial collapse. But the reality is that money is already costing them more than it's bringing. It may be paying bills, but it's draining joy, clarity, and long-term alignment. And in the realm of energy, that cost compounds. Over time, it can lead to burnout, resentment, even illness. Clean income, on the other hand, may start smaller, but it heals you as it builds you. It restores your trust in yourself. It deepens your peace. And most importantly, it gives your subconscious permission to hold more, because there's no guilt attached. Clean income grows in clean containers. If your spiritual house is cluttered with contracts you don't honor or paths you don't believe in, no amount of affirmation will create sustainable wealth. But when your financial choices mirror your internal truth, you become magnetic, not because you hustle harder, but because you become easier to trust. Trust isn't just about people, it's about fields. The universe does not flood energy into unstable structures. But when your intentions are clear, your work is honorable, and your relationship with money is rooted in truth, abundance recognizes your field and enters naturally. So take the time to clean up. Begin with intention, create an income vision, not just based on numbers, but based on how you want to feel. Create a line you won't cross, not out of fear, but out of respect for your own vibration. Set a new standard, even if it takes longer, even if it's humbling. Because clean money, like clean breath, clean water, and clean space, doesn't just nourish your lifestyle, it strengthens your soul. And long after fast money has come and gone, what remains is the quiet wealth that stays because it was built on truth. That's the energy that lasts. That's the income that holds. And that's the foundation where real financial peace begins. Energy flow 3. Stop giving with empty hands. Generosity is a powerful energy when expressed from wholeness. But when giving becomes a substitute for self-worth or a transaction for approval, it starts to deplete instead of expand. In both Buddhist teachings and energetic systems like Feng Shui, giving, when done unconsciously, can quietly create imbalance. On the surface, it may look noble, always helping, always saying yes, always putting others first. But underneath, it may be rooted not in compassion, but in fear, the fear of being unworthy unless constantly useful, the fear of rejection unless always available, the fear of lack unless love is purchased through sacrifice. And that kind of giving sends a distorted frequency into the field. It doesn't say, I am abundant. It says, I need to overextend just to be enough. That signal tells the universe, I earn love by depletion. I earn worth by disappearing into others' needs. And so, over time, the field responds by reinforcing that cycle, drawing more people who take, fewer who give back, and creating situations where exhaustion is normalized and boundaries are blurred. Energetically speaking, overgiving is one of the fastest ways to create a leaky aura. It dilutes your center. It weakens your power to receive. It clutters your energetic field with threads of unspoken resentment. And that resentment, when suppressed, doesn't vanish. It accumulates in the body, the breath, the voice. You might start noticing that you're always tired, that your yes no longer feels like a choice, or that giving no longer brings joy, just duty. These are not signs of generosity. They are signs of disconnection from your inner well, from your boundaries, from your right to pause. True giving, or what Buddhism calls dana, arises not from pressure or performance, but from fullness. And fullness can't be faked. It must be felt. The difference is subtle but powerful. Giving from fear creates energetic debt. Giving from fullness creates spiritual dividends. Many high net worth individuals, those who sustain their wealth, peace, and influence over time, understand this balance deeply. Oprah Winfrey, for example, is not just known for her generosity, but for how she gives, strategically, joyfully, and with structure. Her philanthropy is not reactive. It is rooted in values, boundaries, and sustainability. She doesn't give from guilt or public pressure. She gives from vision. She understands that giving is not a way to prove worth, but a way to channel purpose. Her ability to say no is just as sacred as her decision to say yes. And that's the lesson. Giving should be sacred, not sacrificial, because when giving becomes an attempt to earn something, love, respect, belonging, it shifts the frequency from abundance to negotiation. And that negotiation always comes at a cost. So how do we shift this pattern? It starts with a pause. Before you offer help, lend money, volunteer time, or say yes to another request, ask one silent question. Am I giving from fear or from fullness? If the answer is fear, fear of rejection, fear of being seen as selfish, fear of not being needed, then take a breath and realign. That breath is not selfish. It's the gateway to intentional giving. Because if you give while empty, you extend your depletion into the gift itself. The receiver may not feel it consciously, but energetically, it lands. It feels heavy. It carries guilt, pressure, or unspoken expectation. But when you give from fullness, even something simple like a compliment, a favor, or a donation, it carries light. It expands. It leaves both people nourished, not drained. There is also a structural aspect to this. In Feng Shui, energy needs to circulate. It should not flow endlessly in one direction, especially not outward. If your home only has doors and no windows, air stagnates. If you only give but don't receive, your energy stagnates. Many people are blocked financially not because they don't earn enough, but because they don't receive well. They deflect compliments. They downplay their needs. They avoid asking for support. Why? Because somewhere along the line, they internalize the belief that receiving is selfish, that being supported is weakness. But that belief is not spiritual, it's cultural, and it's time to clear it. Receiving is not weakness, it is balance. You cannot keep the river flowing if it only runs outward. You must allow it to return. A practical exercise. Create a receiving journal. Each night, write down 3 things you received that day. Anything from a kind word to a meal, a ride, a gift, a moment of silence. This trains your field to notice abundance flowing toward you. It also softens the nervous system, which often resists receiving due to old wiring. Over time, this simple act recalibrates your energy so that giving no longer comes from compensation. It comes from clarity. Another practice is to set a personal giving threshold. It could be a financial limit, a time limit, or an emotional bandwidth limit. For example, I will only give 1 unpaid hour of my time per week. Or, I will only donate when I've met my savings goal this month. This isn't stingy, it's structured. And structure in giving creates sustainability and energy. Boundaries allow your generosity to remain genuine. Without them, your kindness becomes currency and your soul becomes overdrafted. The deeper truth is this: you were never meant to earn love through exhaustion. You were never required to disappear to be accepted. Your worth is not a transaction. And the moment you stop giving from empty hands, the universe stops sending you people who demand more than you can afford to give. It begins sending people who meet you where you are, whole, ready, and balanced. Because your field finally says, I know my limits, I honor my worth, and I give not to gain, but to express truth to you. That is the frequency of sustainable abundance. So give, but give with boundaries. Give, but also receive. Say yes, but only when your yes is not a betrayal of your own well-being. Because in the long game of energy, it's not how much you gave that matters. It's how clearly you gave it. And it's whether your giving left both hearts full or just one. That is where flow begins. That is where wealth, emotional, spiritual, financial, starts to return. And that is how you stop bleeding energy in the name of generosity and begin radiating abundance in the name of balance. Energy flow 4. Stabilize your internal seasons. Stability is not a luxury in the world of energy. It's a necessity for magnetism. The flow of money, opportunity, and support is sensitive to frequency. And when your inner world is chaotic, uncertain, or emotionally volatile, it creates turbulence in the energetic field that repels stability in the outer world. Financial abundance isn't just the result of good decisions, it's often the byproduct of a calm nervous system. This is one of the most overlooked truths in both Feng Shui and personal development. People often seek financial solutions through external strategies, budgets, investments, productivity hacks, without realizing that no strategy can outperform the vibration behind it. A person who operates from panic will mismanage abundance, no matter how detailed their plan. And someone who moves from inner stillness can build wealth even through simple, modest actions. In energetic language, the field mirrors the mind. A stormy interstate distorts clarity. Just as a raging ocean cannot reflect the sky, an anxious mind cannot reflect clear choices. This is not about suppressing emotion or forcing peace. It's about learning to stabilize your internal seasons so that your external life can respond in kind. One of the most common patterns that blocks prosperity is emotional volatility, bouncing between hope and despair, enthusiasm and withdrawal, impulse and regret. This pattern is often mistaken for passion or drive, but energetically it's a signal of instability. And instability scares off opportunities that require long-term presence. Imagine an investor considering whether to pour into your vision. If your energy shifts constantly, your frequency says, I might not be here next month. I might abandon this. I might not hold what you give me. So the field, like that investor, withholds, not as punishment, but out of energetic caution. Feng Shui teaches that even in the design of a home, stability and structure are prioritized over perfection or extravagance. A space that is harmonious in proportion, flow, and grounding energy supports its occupants better than one filled with expensive but disorganized elements. The same principle applies to your emotional and financial life. A modest income managed with consistency often outpaces a high income managed with chaos, because the field rewards rhythm, not reaction. One of the simplest ways to begin stabilizing your internal seasons is to reduce unnecessary input. Most emotional volatility is not self-generated, it's absorbed. Through media, comparison, unprocessed trauma, and overstimulation, the body becomes reactive. It begins to associate urgency with importance. Every notification, message, headline becomes a trigger. And from that state, people make financial decisions they later regret. They overpurchase, under-earn, invest out of fear, save from panic, or avoid opportunities because they can't discern intuition from impulse. To change this, the goal is not control, it's rhythm. Begin by creating simple, unchanging rituals, not massive overhauls, but anchor points. For example, checking your bank balance only once per day at a set time and never during emotionally charged moments. Or committing to a 24-hour pause before any large purchase or business decision. These rituals do not limit freedom. They protect energetic clarity. They give your higher self time to speak before your emotional body takes the wheel. In ancient Feng Shui practice, gardens and water features were placed not only for aesthetic beauty, but to represent emotional balance. Still water symbolized reflection and clarity. When visitors walked through a home and saw a tranquil pond or a gentle fountain, it subconsciously regulated their nervous system. It reminded them that peace attracts while noise distracts. Apply this metaphor internally. When your inner pond is calm, your vision becomes sharper. You can see your goals without distortion. You can recognize good advice. You can say no to tempting but misaligned paths. You don't rush, you don't freeze, you respond. Another critical piece in stabilizing your financial energy is watching your language, especially during emotional spikes. Phrases like "I'm so broke," "money just disappears," or "I'll never get ahead" are not just expressions. They are energetic commands. They reinforce instability. Even if you feel overwhelmed, train yourself to speak with grounding language. Instead of "I don't know what to do," try "I'm giving myself space to see the next step." Instead of "I always make the wrong choice," say "I'm learning how to choose from alignment." These may sound like semantics, but words carry frequency. And over time, that frequency becomes your default setting. Just as a thermostat regulates the temperature of a room, your repeated language regulates the tone of your field. And no field can hold wealth if its tone is fear. It's also worth addressing the myth that you must constantly feel positive to attract abundance. That idea creates pressure and guilt, which ironically increase volatility. True energetic maturity is not about constant happiness. It's about emotional capacity, the ability to feel fear without fleeing, to feel grief without collapsing, to feel joy without clinging. When you build this capacity, your financial life reflects it. You stop swinging between feast and famine. You no longer sabotage yourself after a win. You stop undercharging after rejection. You hold your course. You hold your energy, and the world begins to meet you with the same stability. During uncertain times, economic shifts, personal loss, career change, it is especially tempting to abandon your rhythm and scramble for safety. But that is precisely when rhythm is most powerful. A tree in a storm does not grow new roots. It leans into the ones it has. Likewise, your energetic system stabilizes best through familiar, grounded practices. Protect your mornings. Limit inputs. Choose one financial ritual and repeat it daily. Don't check 10 apps. Check one. Don't plan 20 things. Commit to 3. Create a structure that holds you when your emotions can't. And as your nervous system begins to associate finance with steadiness instead of stress, your decisions will become clearer. You will notice that the emergencies start to reduce, that income becomes more consistent, that anxiety becomes background noise instead of a constant drumbeat. Because the field now trusts you, and when energy trusts, it returns. A calm field attracts calm results, not instantly, but reliably. And in a world addicted to urgency, there is nothing more magnetic than someone who moves from inner stability. That's not just emotional intelligence. That's energetic wealth. And it's available the moment you choose harmony over chaos, not as an idea, but as a practice, daily, quietly, unshakably. Because when your inner weather is calm, your life becomes the kind of place where money, love, and opportunity want to stay. Not because you chase them, but because you became safe to receive them. And in that stillness, prosperity no longer feels like a chase. It feels like a mirror, clear, honest, and finally within reach. Energy flow 5. Money follows direction, not desperation. Desperation emits a signal that's hard to ignore and not in a good way. In energetic terms, desperation compresses your field, narrows your vision, and projects a message of lack. It may push you to act, but the results it draws in are often misaligned, short-term, or born from panic. That's because desperation is not direction, it's noise. And when your actions are driven by noise rather than clarity, your work becomes chaotic. It loses coherence, repels trust, and interrupts flow. Feng Shui, like most energy-based systems, teaches that the energy you bring into a space shapes how that space supports you. The same is true of your career, your projects, your job, even the smallest task. Work is not punishment, nor is it simply a means to an end. It is the field in which your vibration becomes visible. Every task you perform is a transmission of frequency. It's either charged with presence, intention, and self-respect, or colored by resistance, obligation, and resentment. When you do work with bitterness, you're not just suffering in silence. You're infusing that bitterness into the energy around the task itself. And that creates results that reflect that energy: rejections, mistiming, confusion, even subtle sabotage. But when you bring presence to even the smallest act, whether it's cleaning, emailing, serving, or building, you shift the field. You broadcast reliability. And the universe, like any intelligence system, responds to reliability with opportunity. This is why some people who appear to be underqualified keep getting opportunities, while others with more talent seem invisible. It's rarely just about skill. It's about how they carry their energy through the work itself. Keanu Reeves is a striking example of this principle in real life. Despite his fame, he's known not only for his roles, but for how he moves through the work. He shows up early, he drives himself, he respects everyone on set, he buys motorcycles for stunt crews. These actions aren't branding, they're frequency. They emit a message of groundedness, humility, and alignment. And that frequency builds trust. It makes him easy to work with, easy to recommend, and easy to remember. That's how you build long-term momentum, not just through performance, but through presence. You don't have to be a celebrity to apply this. You just need to shift your relationship with the task in front of you. The moment you catch yourself saying, "They don't pay me enough to do this," stop and reframe. Ask instead, how can I raise the frequency of how I show up, regardless of this paycheck? This doesn't mean tolerate disrespect or ignore structural unfairness. It means recognizing that your energy is still your responsibility. Because when you give your power to resentment, you're also giving your magnetism away. Energetically, blame is a deflection. It pushes the responsibility of creation onto someone else. And while it might feel temporarily relieving, it makes your field passive. Passive fields don't attract, they wait. And in the waiting, stagnation grows. Instead, try this exercise. Before starting any work, especially a work you don't love, set a 30-second intention. Breathe in and silently affirm, "This task is a reflection of my presence. I choose to bring clarity to it." Then begin. Notice the difference. The result may not change overnight, but your field will. You'll begin to feel less scattered, less drained, and more centered. That centering is not just emotional, it's energetic calibration. And when repeated, it becomes part of your signature. Others start to pick up on it, even if they can't explain why they trust you more. why they feel safe referring you, or why your name comes to mind in rooms you've never entered. That's how energy works. It travels farther than resumes ever can. There's also a spiritual elegance in staying grounded when others panic. In uncertain times, many people lower their standards to survive. But lowering your frequency to match chaos doesn't protect you, it weakens your trajectory. Instead of shrinking your energy to fit the moment, expand your integrity to influence the moment. This is not idealism, it's energetic leadership. The people who rise long-term are those who bring vision, order, and trustworthiness to chaotic fields. And that starts with how you carry yourself when no one's watching. In Buddhist teachings, this is likened to planting seeds with care, even when harvest season feels far away, because the energy in the seed determines the quality of the fruit. So plant with clarity, work with clarity, speak with clarity, and trust that even if results delay, the energy you've deposited into the field is organizing in your favor. You might not control your job title, your client list, or your paycheck today, but you do control your energetic signature. And that signature is the invitation the universe responds to. It says, this person is ready to hold more. Not just more money, but more trust, more leadership, more meaningful impact. If you constantly think, no one appreciates me, flip it inward. Ask, do I bring appreciation into what I do? If you feel unseen, ask, am I showing up fully or just going through the motions? These questions don't assign blame. They retrieve power. Remember, money is not loyal to talent. It's loyal to alignment. When you align with direction over desperation, with contribution over complaint, you naturally begin to magnetize the support and recognition you once tried to force. Not because the world suddenly changes, but because your signal sharpens. You become the person people want to work with, refer, and build with, because your presence gives them energy, not drains it. And in a world full of noise, that presence is currency. It buys trust, it attracts growth, and it builds a financial life that feels less like survival and more like resonance. So the next time you sit down to work, whether for a boss, a client, or yourself, forget the title, forget the pay for a moment. Just like, what kind of energy am I feeding this moment with? Because work isn't a punishment, it's your portal. It's the field where your vibration becomes action. And when your action becomes clear, consistent, and clean, the world cannot help but respond, because that's how energy flows, not to those who need more, but to those who transmit better. Energy flow 6. Spend like energy, not escape. Every time you spend money, you are not just completing a transaction. You are broadcasting a belief. Whether you swipe a card, click pay now, or hand over cash, your energy at that moment speaks louder than the amount. In the energetic framework of Feng Shui, money is not a finite object to be chased or captured. It is a current, a flow, a carrier of intention. When you spend money with contraction, clenched fists, tight breath, fear that it won't come back, you're not just depleting a balance. You're reinforcing a belief in lack. And that belief, repeated over time, becomes a vibration that repels prosperity, not because you don't deserve it, but because your field begins to signal that flow is unsafe. This is why so many people who save obsessively, penny pinch every detail, or make every purchase feel like a battlefield, end up feeling more drained, not more secure. Because money hoarded in fear is not the same as money held with clarity. They might look similar in the bank, but their energetic signatures are opposite. One says, I trust myself with more. The other whispers, I don't believe more is coming. On the other side of the spectrum is spending's escape. Emotional spending, retail therapy, compulsive upgrades. These aren't expressions of abundance. They are symptoms of energetic misalignment. When you spend money to silence discomfort, impress others, or numb anxiety, you're not participating in flow. You're leaking energy. And those leaks accumulate not just in your bank account, but in your spirit. The regret that follows is not about the money itself, it's about the recognition that the energy you sent out wasn't clean, that you gave away not just currency but intention, awareness, and power. To realign, begin with one powerful practice. Pause before each purchase, no matter how small. Take a conscious breath. Am I spending from alignment or from avoidance? If the answer is alignment, if the purchase supports your health, your purpose, your well-being, or your values, then bless the money as it leaves. Literally. In your mind, thank it. Visualize it circulating in the economy, helping someone else, then returning in a new, expanded form. This isn't superstition, it's energetic hygiene. It teaches your nervous system that money is not being lost, it's being shared. And what is shared from wholeness has a path back to you. When you bless your spending, you begin to reprogram the emotional tone around money. You no longer feel anxious when paying bills because each payment becomes an affirmation. I can support my life. I trust the flow. I am part of something larger than fear. Imagine paying your electricity bill, not with dread, but with a quiet internal smile, acknowledging that this payment sustains warmth, light, and safety. That is not naive, that is mastery. That is the essence of spending like energy, not escape. In Feng Shui, money that is spent in awareness strengthens the wealth corner of your life, not just metaphorically, but emotionally. The southeast area of a home traditionally governs abundance. When clutter builds there, wealth stagnates. The same applies to your habits. If your financial behavior is cluttered with guilt, anxiety, or escapism, your field clogs. But when each expenditure is intentional, necessary, and blessed, your field clears. The very act of spending becomes a form of energetic composting, returning value to the earth so that new value can grow. It is also essential to note that the energy with which you receive is just as vital as how you spend. When you receive change, a refund, a gift, or even a discount, receive it with the same gratitude and grace. Don't dismiss small amounts. Every dollar carries energy. Every exchange is a spiritual imprint. Respect the flow, and the flow will begin to respect you. Some may argue that this level of awareness around spending is excessive. That's only true if you view money as purely transactional. But if you view money as relational, as something that reflects how you see yourself, how you engage with the world, and how you hold power, then no gesture is too small. Think of someone like Sarah Blakely, the founder of Spanx. She's often spoken about writing checks with hearts in the memo line when she was just starting out. Not as a gimmick, but because she believed in blessing the outgoing energy. That frequency didn't just build a business, it built a vibration that people wanted to support. That is money as resonance. To integrate this into your life, build a sacred spending ritual. It could be as simple as placing your hand over your heart before you pay, or saying internally, I honor this exchange, or lighting incense after a large payment to acknowledge release and trust. These are not rules, they are anchors, ways of bringing presence to moments that used to be automated or anxiety-filled. Also, track your spending, not just in numbers, but in feelings. After each significant purchase, jot down how it made you feel. Did it leave you energized or hollow, secure or regretful, seen or invisible? Over time, you'll start to notice patterns. You'll learn that certain types of spending nourish your frequency while others drain it. And from there, you can recalibrate. You'll no longer need to restrict spending from a place of fear because you will naturally begin to choose from alignment. Your field will crave clean energy, not escape routes. In closing, remember that money is not impressed by fear. It is drawn to clarity. The more you treat every exchange as an affirmation of trust, the more your finances begin to stabilize, not just through numbers, but through nervous system coherence. You'll find yourself spending less on things that never satisfied you and more on what truly supports your growth. And as your spending becomes more sacred, your abundance will stop being erratic and start becoming responsive. Not because you spent more, but because you finally started spending it like someone who believes they will always have enough. That is energy, that is frequency, and that is how flow returns. Quietly, consistently, without drama. Because you've become the kind of person it can trust to hold it. Energy flow 7. Attachment is the root of financial exhaustion. Attachment, especially when it comes to finances, is one of the most subtle yet destructive patterns in the energetic field. While many people associate attachment with emotional dependence or unhealthy relationships, in energetic terms, financial attachment is a pattern of waiting, blaming, and surrendering power to sources outside yourself. It's the belief that someone else, be it a partner, parent, government, boss, or circumstance, must change before your life can improve. And although that belief may sound logical in moments of struggle, its frequency is heavy. It stalls movement. It halts momentum. It tells the universe, I am not the one responsible for my outcome. And in that vibration, stagnation settles in. From a Feng Shui perspective, attachment behaves like clutter in a forgotten corner. The room may be beautiful, but if one area is blocked, untouched, unresolved, neglected, it begins to affect the entire flow. Air becomes stale, qi doesn't circulate, and slowly the space starts to feel disconnected, lifeless. The same occurs in your financial field when you wait for external rescue rather than initiating internal movement. You may say you want abundance, but your energy says, only when they pay me more, only when the market recovers, only when my partner changes, only when my past is resolved. Those only whens are energetic chains, and they keep you locked in a holding pattern that no amount of effort can override until the energy behind it shifts. In Buddhist terms, this is known as clinging, grasping for what you cannot control and ignoring the power of presence. Clinging exhausts your field. It creates emotional fatigue because it invests energy into fantasy rather than stewardship. And that fantasy delays your ability to move, even in small ways. You begin to feel powerless, not because power has left you, but because your attention is glued to something you cannot reach. The only way out is to reclaim responsibility. Not for everything, but for what is in your hands today. Because energy does not reward volume, it rewards clarity. If you have $5 and you treat that money with reverence, with order, with intentional circulation, your field strengthens. But if you have $500 and you dusted it with avoidance, entitlement, or carelessness, your field weakens. That's why wealth doesn't always follow income. It follows alignment. Consider this: someone living in a modest apartment who knows how to budget, track, and allocate their spending with intention may carry more financial integrity than someone living in luxury who deflects responsibility and spends from impulse. The outer picture may differ, but the inner frequency is unmistakable. Energy can feel it. And over time, energy rewards stewardship because the field says, this one can hold, this one is ready, this one isn't waiting, they're moving. That movement doesn't require grandeur. It starts with small acts, organizing your receipts, knowing your account balance, paying attention to where your money comes from and where it goes. It requires no external permission, no approval, no ideal timing. It simply requires presence. One of the most powerful energetic truths is this: how you treat a single coin determines how life trusts you with gold. That is not poetic exaggeration. It's spiritual law. Money, like any form of energy, wants to be respected. Not feared, not worshipped, but respected. And respect begins in the small. The coin at the bottom of your bag, the dollar you almost ignore, the recurring subscription you haven't canceled, the loose ends you keep meaning to tie. These are not minor details. They are energetic threads. And when you tend to them, you weave a fabric strong enough to hold more. So ask yourself, where am I waiting for someone else to fix this? Where have I surrendered my ability to move, to act, to choose differently today? This is not about shame, it's about retrieval. Pulling your energy back from the places you've handed it over to and replanting it in the soil of your own field. You don't need permission to start. You don't need perfect conditions. You just need to stop saying when they and start asking, what can I do with what I have from where I am? This is also a call to shift your language. The words you use around money, especially when you're frustrated, carry energetic weight. Phrases like, I can't get ahead, they owe me, or nothing ever works out are not just expressions. They are declarations, and the field listens. If you want life to trust you with more, begin speaking as if you already trust yourself with what you have. Say, I'm learning to manage this better. Say, I'm building capacity for more. Say, I'm choosing progress over perfection. These statements realign your vibration from victimhood to stewardship. And stewardship is magnetic. It draws support, clarity, and next steps that can't emerge when you're stuck in blame. If there's one practice to begin today, it's this. Stop chasing rescue. Start cultivating Wati rhythm. Set a time each week, maybe just 10 minutes, to meet what's might be your money. Sit with it, look at it, ask it what it needs. Clean your wallet, update your budget. Express gratitude, not because it's perfect, but because it's present. You don't need more to start showing up differently. You just need to stop waiting. When you stop waiting, you start creating. You move from dependency to direction, and direction is where energy flows. Attachment to others saving you drains your strength, but responsibility, even when uncomfortable, restores it. It says, I am here, I am willing, I am building. And when the universe hears that message, not as a one-time outburst, but as a consistent hum, it begins to respond. Not because you shouted, but because you steadied. And steadiness is where opportunity lives. Not in waiting rooms, not in rescue fantasies, but in the simple, steady acts of showing up for your own life again and again, until the field can no longer ignore your readiness. That's when flow returns. That's when exhaustion becomes power. And that's when you stop chasing money, and money begins to move toward you, not because of what you have, but because of how you hold it. When one shift unlocks a whole life, before Jim Carrey became one of the most recognized comedic actors in the world, before the blockbuster films, the Golden Globes, and the international fame, there was a quiet act of alignment, one that didn't happen on stage or in front of cameras, but within his own private energetic field. In the early 1990s, when he was still an unknown, struggling actor, Jim sat in his car overlooking Los Angeles and wrote himself a personal check for $10 million, dated for 5 years in the future, and labeled for acting services rendered. He folded the check and placed it in his wallet, where it remained for years, worn and faded, but never discarded. That paper wasn't a stunt, it was an energetic contract. And it wasn't the amount that mattered, it was what it represented. A shift from hoping to knowing, from doubt to direction. He wasn't just fantasizing about wealth, he was preparing his field to hold it. The brilliance of this story lies not in the check itself, but in the consistency that followed. Jim didn't simply write a number and sit back, he aligned with that number. Every audition, every rejection, every moment of anonymity became part of the energetic training. He didn't allow temporary external lack to dilute the clarity of his internal vision. And that's the part most people miss. They set intentions, they visualize, they affirm, but they don't hold the frequency. They let setbacks recalibrate their belief. They let outside circumstances determine what's possible. Jim Carrey didn't do that. He kept the image alive, even when there was no evidence. Because in energetic terms, the field needs time to organize. And when it senses that your signal is consistent, not just when you feel good, but especially when you don't, it begins to move. When he eventually landed the role in Dumb and Dumber, his paycheck matched that exact amount, $10 million. But by then, the check in his wallet was just a physical echo of a shift that had already occurred years prior. The real manifestation wasn't the growing year with the money. It was the man who showed up to meet it, already formed by years of inner work. Because the check wasn't magic. It was a mirror, a reflection of everything he had rehearsed energetically. Belief, resilience, clarity. And those qualities are the true prerequisites for abundance. Not the right opportunity, not perfect timing, but internal congruence. This story is not about celebrity. It's about frequency. It's about the power of creating something tangible, not as proof, but as practice. When you write a number, declare a vision, or hold a symbol, you are training your system to feel safe with more. And safety is the threshold. If you desire wealth but carry subconscious fear of holding it, you will find ways to delay, deflect, or sabotage. But if you practice feeling aligned with it, calmly, consistently, and without pressure, you gradually open your energetic field to receive. That's why the physical object doesn't matter. Whether it's a check, a photo, a journal, or a mantra, it's only the gateway. What follows must be repetition. Not frantic action, but quiet commitment. When people fail to manifest, it's not because they lack talent or intention. It's because they lack frequency integrity. They spoke one desire but lived a different energy. They wanted $10 million but treated money with fear. They dreamed of opportunity but complained daily. That's not alignment. That's energetic static. And the universe doesn't respond to static. It responds to signal. So the invitation here is simple but powerful. What is your version of the check? What symbol can you carry? Not to impress, not to pretend, but to prepare. What practice can you build that teaches your nervous system to stop reacting to current limitations and start responding to future truth? Because the world doesn't just give you what you want. It gives you what your energy can hold without breaking. And if Jim Carrey's story teaches us anything, it's that manifestation is not fantasy. It's a skill built on clarity, repetition, and the willingness to hold faith through resistance. If you want to experience a breakthrough, create a small ritual that reminds you daily of what you are becoming. Write a note to your future self and read it every morning. Place a number somewhere you see it. Speak your vision aloud with no one listening. Do it not for applause, but for calibration. Because energy isn't waiting for you to prove yourself. It's waiting for you to remember that it already knows who you are. The question is, do you? Hold the vision, repeat the signal, become the person your future is already seeking. And when the moment arrives, when the check clears, the door opens, or the offer comes, you won't be surprised. You'll be ready, because you never stopped preparing. You never stopped aligning, and you never asked the world to believe in you more than you believed in yourself. That is the one shift that unlocks everything else. Not because the world changed, but because you did first. Final lesson. It's never just money. Money is never just money. It may look like currency, move like math, and operate in numbers. But underneath, it's always responding to something far more subtle, your energy. It mirrors back what you believe about yourself, what you tolerate, how clearly you value your time, and how gently or chaotically you handle your own potential. For some, money feels like power. For others, pressure. For some, it's a tool. For others, it's a test. But in all cases, money never arrives as a blank check. It arrives as a reflection. And the question has never been, how do I get more? The deeper question is, what does my field say I'm ready to hold? Because wealth doesn't respond to wishful thinking. It responds to congruence. You can chase it with the best strategies, read the smartest books, and hustle every hour of the day. But if your energy says, I'm afraid, or I'm unworthy, or I only receive when I'm in crisis, then money will behave accordingly. It will become inconsistent, conditional, or unavailable. Not because you're being punished, but because your vibration hasn't yet become a safe space for it to rest. That's why real prosperity starts not with action, but with frequency, not with budgets and spreadsheets, but with energetic refinement. You clear the clutter in your wallet and your mind. You honor the dollar as much as the opportunity. You shift from desperation to direction. You stop waiting for the world to change, and you become the field that invites transformation. Because here's the truth. When your field is truly ready, money doesn't need to be summoned. It finds you. It circles back without force. It recognizes you in rooms you haven't entered yet. It flows not because you demanded it, but because your frequency quietly said, I'm ready to hold what I used to chase. And if it still hasn't shown up the way you hoped, don't panic, don't force, don't shame yourself. Just check the field. Is it cluttered with old beliefs? Is it heavy with fear? Is it leaky with overgiving? Or is it being shaped day by day, breath by breath, into something that can finally hold abundance with steadiness, not survival? This is the work. Not to attract more, but to become more aligning with what you say you desire. Because when that alignment is consistent, when it becomes your baseline, not just your good days, everything begins to shift, slowly, quietly, then all at once. And if something in this video softens something inside you, if a sentence made you pause, a story made you feel seen, or an insight made you reflect, then I invite you to honor that shift. Share this video with someone who's tired of chasing and ready to recalibrate. Leave a comment below about which energy flow spoke to you most, or what small adjustment you are committed to making. And if you'd like to keep building this kind of clarity in your life, if you believe, like I do, that mindfulness isn't about sitting still, but about moving in alignment, then subscribe to New Day Mindfulness. We're almost at 2,000 followers, and every person who joins helps this ripple of grounded wisdom reach further, stronger, and deeper into the lives that need it. Thank you for being here, for your attention, for your energy, and for remembering that abundance isn't an achievement, it's a frequency, and you are already learning how to hold it. Until next time, stay steady, stay open, and let your life become the kind of space where all good things feel invited to stay.